This might just be one of the most insane weeks for GT platformer news ever. Starting things off, Voidal jumps to a new hardest of Estufa. This level is a 2.5 minute deathless challenge split into autoscroller and avoidance sections. The autoscrollers not only feature the standard robot and jetpack gameplay, but also test your ability to memorize quick waves of obstacles. In contrast, the avoidance sections randomly spit out projectiles, testing your reflexes instead. To truly put into perspective how insane this jump is, his previous hardest was the Abyss, meaning Voidal jumped up in difficulty over 100 levels. With FLORESCENCE placed at number 5 on the platformer list, aka TPL, Convolution falls out of the top 5, and Artemka becomes the 8th player ever ranked within the top 3 of platformer rank. This is made even more impressive by the fact that less than a year ago, he was ranked outside the top 50. With his completion of heavier metal this week, he has further cemented himself as the number 1 ranked player on the platformer list, which has a similar ranking system to most lists, prioritizing completion of the whole list. Coming out of hiatus, Lutz, a player who has historically hovered around the 7 to 15 range, is currently projected to reclaim a spot within the top 10, with their completions of Heavier Metal and Claustrophobia, or CL5. Some other notable completions of this week are Evitz both claiming a new hardest of Kuroku and joining Lutz as a CL5 victor. Dashing has verified Vortex, a level harder than Null. Just like the level it surpassed, you have to collect the token item, in this case Vortexes, to progress, while you squeeze your way in between sideways spikes. Unlike Null, however, this level is a vertical climb, and said squeezes are somewhat mitigated by using a double jump to adjust your momentum mid-air. This ability then becomes a double-edged sword in the second half, with areas such as this one, where after wrapping around and through some uncomfortably close spikes, you'll have to double jump while falling instead of ascending, the former giving you less frames to work with. Near the end of the level, there's a slanted passage, where after another turnaround, the subsequent double jump requires a tight release timing. Arguably the hardest part is 92%, requiring 2 finicky turnarounds mid-double jump. When asked why Dashing verified this level, this was their response. GToast goes from number 1 to even more number 1 with her completion of Meat Tower, a 5-minute deathless challenge with a 240Hz frame perfect halfway in. She got incredibly unlucky, dying to or past Spencer, the spinning meat creature, near the end of the level 7 different times, including one right before the chain of yellow orbs at the very end of the level. After their tragic 100-hour crash, Cosmin only had to spend another 50 hours to complete Dead of Night. Daxy became the first person to achieve the true ending of the same level through collecting all of the secrets. The most notable of these secrets is acquired after defeating the super buffed boss fight of the Kid from I Wanna Be the Guy. Compared to the regular version, you'll have to evade 3 Mega Shurikens from the ceiling instead of 1, the Kid both fires and moves faster, the cloud that he shoots into now sprays bullets diagonally, the boss has more health, and these cherries home onto you 2 times instead of once. Huge hats off to Daxy for completing this current top 1 boss in the midst of the entire Dead of Night gauntlet, and beating the world record of Intervallum, a top 70 level, twice this week as well. The latest placement changes on TPL have caused chaos in the rankings. Chaos Ball Theory, a minigame where you use 2 pads to bounce several balls back and forth for 2.5 minutes without dropping a single one, has dropped 37 spots on TPL, lowering the ranking of 8 separate players. However, Kurokaizo 1, a level infamous for its difficulty spike at the Red World Memory section and an extremely unbalanced jump at the very end of the level, was nuked 27 places down, lowering the rankings of a staggering 26 separate players. It was so significant it even affected inactive players, like Lukalizer, Goran, and Downpour. Most notably, with I Want a Platformer list placed at number 10, long-term veterans Shroomy and Jungle Wolf claim a spot within the top 10, surpassing both Voplat and ending Aibyou's jaw-dropping 17.5-month streak within the top 10. Aibyou, however, is one of the best players of all time for a reason. Within the very next day, he conquers Delightful Climb, the top 1 platformer. Overall, he had 6 deaths to 95%, the infamous turnaround at the end of the level, and 2 more further past it. For those who remember, previously, the mod Aibyou was using decided to hold down keys for him, meaning this very well could be the sole reason he ever dropped out of the top 10. After 15 deaths to the last screen of Diamonds for Dashers, Samamba, the creator of Kill the Pandas 2 and the previously mentioned Estufa, reaches a peak ranking of number 2 and becomes the second ever player to pass Aibyou ever since he went on hiatus 5 months ago. Kill the Pandas 2. After a gauntlet of needle challenges and surviving Mindcap for some reason, the level ends off with a 4-minute avoidance. However, memorizing everything just won't cut it, as during a few of the attacks, homing missiles will force you to make adjustments each attempt. RevNotRev's journey of collecting all platformer coins just got a whole lot harder, with Feverest Dream getting rated. This level is the hardest rated level to focus on slope boosting, a technique where by moving the downwards direction of the slope, jumping, and then swapping directions, you can climb up a slope instead of sliding off. This cube maze is especially tough, as the gravity you're working with and the direction of your slope boosts are constantly swapping. You'll be doing this while leaping over the constant onslaught of spikes. As this is a Fever Dream, some especially cool looking parts are these fancy looking houses at the start of the level and the final stretch where you slope boost through the aesthetics of Speed Tech, Terminal Heaven, and Mastery of the Slope, other notable levels that test this mechanic. This 2.5 minute challenge comes with a Nightmare mode which super buffs the entire level, most notably in the first half and the ending. The Nightmare coin is so difficult that only Cucu, the verifier and someone who is far ahead of anyone else at slope boosting, has collected it. Suffice to say, in addition to learning how to become a Tetris Grandmaster, Rev certainly has his work cut out for him. After over 4 months of no victors, Malcoris claims first victor of Dish Rags, the hardest auto-scroller, filled to the brim with multiple orb and portal sequences by Maddy. Aside from the obvious execution required, any slowdown or hesitation can leave you off-screen where you're as good as dead. This is especially true at the drop at 40%, where you have to adjust to the faster speed and shortly after fly through a gnarly passageway where each spike is slightly above the last. Later on, as the jetpack at 65%, after timing the various orbs correctly, you'll switch gears and weave through a staggered spike corridor. The hardest part, however, is this 95% UFO, where you have to narrowly avoid these spike shuriken hitboxes 6 times in a row. What makes this level even more interesting is that observant viewers may have spotted, it features every game mode except for Robot.